Welcome to Common Off the Shelf, a crazy cacophony of random Joes talking about everything from classes to equipment and tactical stuff and all that cool information. Tonight I will be co-hosted by Be Prepared, and we'll be discussing everything probably from the drone course he took with NC Scout and his article on it, and we will probably roll into some other subjects as well as we see fit. But first, we are going to be discussing my newfound interest of telling you all to go to class, because the handful of you guys that actually listen to this probably go to classes and no one else does. But regardless, I'm going to shout out some guys. First off, my good friend, historian, the 5th to the 7th of June, we'll have the HF NVIS course, operations course, that will be up in North Carolina at the Brush Beaters G Camp. Barrel and Hatchet, if you've never heard of them, they're Florida-based for the most part, but they do travel a bit. They do some pistol training and rifle training stuff. They have a Contender pistol on 16th of May in Mulberry, and they have one on the 23rd of May in Holt, Florida. Tactical Rifleman is doing a SPR precision rifle, 20 to 21st of April up in Kentucky. They've also got a 24 April combat pistol and a 25th April combat carbine. Last but not least right now is 20 to 21st of June. There's going to be surveillance photography that should be in Fayetteville, North Carolina with Raleigh Point at ISR. I talked about their class previously that I took on security. Really good dudes, really highly recommended. And if you want to know anything about photography and the uses of it, especially for tactical side, highly recommend it. That said, I know Tactical Wisdom has a whole bunch of stuff coming up, and I just didn't get time to go into his stuff right now. And I believe most of Brush Beater stuff's pushed off a little bit, so we will bring that up on the next podcast, both of them as well. But if you want to check out Tactical Wisdom out in Montana, go to his website, tactical-wisdom.com. With that said, be prepared. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How you doing today, bro?
Phenomenally better that I'm not at work and my back is not dying, but
I feel that.
So we're going to start talking about your article that you brought up, because were you at the first course that they ever gave on drones?
I was at the second course. That was last month? March.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. And I haven't been out to it yet. I think the next one's late. It's like October. I was looking at the course listings, but or maybe even November.
I think it is. I'm looking at where'd it go? There it is. Yeah. 13 through 15 November 2026.
Okay. So it's ways off, and I usually say the ones that are coming up soon. I understand everybody doesn't have tons of money to go everywhere and do everything. I currently am trying to get to more courses, and I'm hopefully going to the Barrel and Hatchet, and I want to take the wife to do that one for shooting. But this is a course that I think a lot of people in our sphere of existence, the prepared person, former veterans who are just still kind of interested in the military but have aged out or don't want to be in it. It's a unique perspective on combat and just what entails reconnaissance, drones, and everything else alone. But I'm going to leave this to you. Kind of give us an overview of what you expected and what you got out of the course.
Well, to echo what you're saying is it's who aged out. I'm currently in that. I believe Teddy, he was talking on X the other day. He says, I'm realizing more and more that I'm more the Mr. Mason than the fighters in Red Dawn.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been there for about dear buddy, welcome to the club. Bad knees are a thing when you get older. Be kind to your knees. You'll miss them when they're gone. So I'm more and more into what I can provide in not on the front. I'm not going to be your trigger puller. You know, you get over the half century mark and you don't run.
No.
So drone ISR is something that you could take a class on, and it's basically on how to properly use your drones. I more wanted it to back up what thoughts I had on drone use. We've all seen the pictures coming out of Ukraine, the war we're in. But most people don't realize that I like to call it the first drone war, was actually Armenia and Azerbaijan. So I would call that drone war 1.0. And Azerbaijan just absolutely murdered most of the Armenian troops on the front lines. I believe it was with Iranian drones that they had bought, but I like to call that one. And the 2.0 is where we're at with Ukraine. And that is more where everybody's getting their ideas of all the, you can't hide from this and you can't do that. And, why even bother? Thermal is the eye of Sauron. Well, yes and no. And you've been to the course and you've been to the scout course and you've seen thermal is great, but it's not the all-seeing eye of Sauron. It can be defeating.
Yep. I think last podcast I was talking with Patriot Man, and he was talking about how the OPFOR had dropped down a certain height with one of the drones and didn't see the whole class, who, if they dropped 10, 15 feet lower with the canopies on the east coast of the U.S., you can be hidden.
Oh, yeah. Even in winter, with you're warmer than the outside, you can still be well hidden. I was OPFOR, and I had just put thermal on one of my FALs, and I couldn't see squat in the trees because even in March, while it was 40 degrees, it was still getting warm. But unless it was moving in the trees, I couldn't see it through scope thermal. But anyway, backing up, what I expected of it, like I said, was something that I can do as an aging out person for helping for a partisan. I can sit in the back, I can help. I can say, yes, your target is over here. Do this, do that. What I did realize was the great amount of technique and how it could be, or finer points of using it on the field. Let's just say that. But yeah, it was, my exposure was probably like everybody else's. I'm going to go and buy a little drone. I'm going to buy a cheap drone so that when I break it, it's not going to think. Those drones, those $40 drones that you buy to be cheap because you're not going to waste a whole lot of money. And the ones, and you break them and you go, well, I suck at flying drones. Yep. That's why. Yep. I actually while I was at the course, I bought the drones, the basic drone that is in use in the class. And I'll be happy to tell you which one that is. It's not stupid cheap. It's not the $40 model, that you can go to Academy and whatnot. Right now, it's on sale on Amazon. It's $120.
I might pick one up tonight.
Yeah, it is a gyro stabilized, and that's important, quadcopter, and it doesn't use your phone.
Okay.
And that's important too.
Yeah.
You've been to a few classes.
I'm a big SIGINT guy. I'm not a good SIGINT guy, but I am super into it. And
you're a bigger SIGINT guy than I am, and SIGINT all over the place. There's a scanner. There's 8 radios behind me, and there's a RadTel right here. You might
be a little more on it than I am. Where I am, there's so much going off and radio stuff and just nonsense. It's not even worth it. I can't wait to move. Literally can't wait to move. Just give me an area where not everything is alive and talking and communicating and random stabbings and homeless people throwing stuff and anyways, sorry, continue.
No, you're all right. Like I said, I'm first responder, so I keep the thing on all the time. And people are like, well, why do you listen to it on your off day? Some days I do turn it off after I've been up for a long est. But I'd rather know what's been going on in the county. That way I can know this address has been run before, what I can expect. Anyway, back to the drone. It's a handheld. The handheld unit has the screen, so you can't, you're not going to be in daylight in seeing this thing. And it's not thermal because it's $120. So, but it is a good gyro stabilized. Like you let go of the sticks, it stops. And that's the big problem with the other cheaper ones. They'll just keep flying wherever the heck you left them to. So it is I'm not even going to say it. Karusirik. KARUISRC. And it's a GPS per person drone camera.
That's interesting. In the thing that blows me, I know they have, and I'm not sure if he's selling multiples of these, but I know Brushbeater's store has a thermal drone on there for about $3,000, which is not terrible considering it's got a thermal imager on there. Somebody told me back in the day, get on and grab a and it's sitting right here. A Radio Master controller to fly FPV drones, and then connect it to a computer that you have and go play video games that are specifically designed for FPV drones. I ended up picking up the Ukrainian flight simulator. It's basically their demo of their military training software. It's not anything
Really?
super. Yeah, it's interesting. I picked it up, and I bought the wife a drone. She wanted a drone back before I even did the articles. So we have a drone that we can fly around. It was probably $400 or $500 at the time, and she hasn't used it much, so I'll probably get onto it. Gyro stabilized, like you said, but it does connect to a phone, which I didn't like. But at the time, you understand, like, this is something that I get to touch, but it's the wife's toy. So I'm not too concerned, because if anything goes sideways, I'm be like, don't touch that, put it away.
Right.
So, but regardless, flying that thing, and they have a couple settings on it. They have the stabilization, but they have it just as the kamikaze drone, and that is horrifyingly hard. Like, I don't think people realize how hard, like you said, the $40 drones are to operate with no stabilization.
Yes. That's I wanted to go to get hands on with a higher class drone.
Mhm.
So that was kind of, that was half of what it was. Now, going back to what you said about the Scout having one for sale in his store, we actually ran that one that he has for sale in his store later. But as like in my article on the first day, we spent about 4 or 5 hours just in groups of 4, just learning to slide. I call it slide, but it's, oh God, it's a
Gotcha.
yaw, rotate, yaw, and altitude.
Mhm.
And that was, to me, that was very informative, because like I said, every time, buy a little one, into the tree, into the this, and then into the that, you let go of those sticks, it stops. And that to me was like, okay, I want one of these. I don't care what it is. I'm going to get one.
Yep.
You do have to, when you first get them, you have to set them up, so to speak. They want to know that you have to get the gyro set so it knows which way is up, down, left, or right. That's a computer thing, but nonetheless. But other than that, I really, that was very good. And you're afraid to go too high, but not too high is not too high. If you can barely see it, if you still have a camera, you can still navigate. And that took some people a little bit to get used to. As I said in the article, it took some people how did I say it? Yeah, working it without eyes on.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is an interesting thing. I think that partly comes from everybody being on a phone for navigation now. And I don't think as many people have had to put a map down and figure out where they are. That seemed to be beneficial to me playing around with the drones. Because once you get up high enough and you've got some visibility of houses, buildings, whatever else, anything, you start referencing where you are. But people who haven't done that on a regular, I think it's a steep learning curve for a lot of people.
Well, you've been to we were going from the classroom over to the grassy knoll and dropping down, so you're well behind trees and everything.
Yep.
That's what I meant by, you're getting your spatial recognition, spatial realization off of a camera. And a lot of people couldn't quite get that, but that's what took so long, is to get everybody on that page that, yeah, I am this high, pan it up, pan it down. You're still this high off the ground, and move around. And it was like very, very good to give us that long of a time to get used to it.
Mhm.
And then we broke for lunch and came back and did it again. And they were like, okay, now find the other one of the other 4 teams. So we were broken up on like teams of 4, and like, okay, now take it up and find the other people. Not that they're actually like hiding. That was later. But, okay, so they're out of sight, and you're going to have to get the drone out of your sight to go and find them. So it was pretty interesting. I really like that one.
Yeah, and that's finding something alone by aviation's sake. It's funny because I've got so many World War II manuals now because of the simplicity of the writing. The concepts still transfer over for the most part if you use your brain pan a little bit. I saw a post on X. Somebody's asking, "Hey, I'm in the or maybe he's prior military or was military. He's like, does your book on the Baofeng translate to other radios?" And of course, Scout said yes. And I added on to it. I'm like, hey, I know you're in the military, and I guess he's 11 Bravo or something like that. And this isn't a slight to the 11 Bravo guys, but sometimes you don't touch radios before, and this is the same thing with drones. You don't touch drones before. It seems overwhelming. And I was like, hey,
Yes.
when you get a radio, look at the Baofeng guide. You're going to have to figure out from your radio to the Baofeng what's similar and follow the book as best you can. Most radios are very similar, but their menus are different, things like that. So, and I was just giving them a heads up. I wasn't mean or shitty about it either, but I think the same thing goes on with the drones. Everything works very similarly. There's going to be differences. So if you pick up a drone and you go to one of these courses, the higher end ones are going to work better than the lower end ones for certain things for various reasons. But all this knowledge, all this stuff, all the aviation side stuff is been carried over since World War II. They flew over you. They were looking for you. The difference is you can take a drone lower. Your smaller footprint, it's harder to detect you in the first place if you're not looking correctly. And they can see you and get closer to you, where a big single-engine airplane with hundreds of horsepower flying over your head is a lot more noticeable. So,
Right.
and they have
I
less time
just
over you.
Yeah, I just flipped on the old drone detector just to see the other the other fun part. It's going to be sitting in the background. If it hears anything, it's going to go. But the other fun thing of this particular drone is it doesn't show up on the Ukrainian drone detector Scout cells, but you can see it. But it does trip the hardware sensitivity
The warning.
for yes. But you go, oh, there it is.
I believe you said you could modify where it actually trips that detection. So, if I remember correctly, and that might be
I think
something
it's in
to
the
look
firmware.
at. Mhm. It might be.
But you get out there, these drones are on the same thing as a Wi-Fi network. So if there's a Wi-Fi network around, it's going to be a hard time finding this particular one. Now the Autels and everything else, they do show up. They have a specific, and it does trip it. But since these are toys considered, and you don't need a license for these because they're so light,
Mhm.
it doesn't trip. And I was like, that's very interesting. That was another point of the ISR.
Mhm.
If you have a drone detector, unless you're really looking for it, you're not going to see this drone in the daytime.
Nope.
Or if I get it high enough, you're not going to hear it, but you can maybe hear it. Your dogs are going to hear it. That was one of the things that was one of the videos that I think Anti-Pattern had, and he had the OP4 in, and he went down, and you could see the dog going crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I should use his name. Anyway, you know him. I know him. He's got his dog trained to listen for.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, he was like, I think I'm going to get her to spot on that. And she doesn't need to because she just hears it and it just,
Correct.
And
I wonder how many dogs it just annoys, and that'd be.
well, I know my
Intriguing.
bird dog, the
Mhm.
Mensa meathead, she cowers.
Oh, interesting.
She does not like the sound.
Mm-hmm.
But I've not made her into I've not had her for hunting. She's more of a, yeah. But if you have a trained bird dog, I guess, or hunting dog, I'm pretty sure that you could do that. But, being a alligator, he's doing some training with her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
Alligators.
yeah. What, alligator?
Yeah, no, I've heard that a lot, and it's very,
she
very,
is.
very appropriate.
God, as always, my brain just goes so much I can see this guy's face, but can't
Oh, you're
recall
good.
his name. Wes.
No.
Wes had his dog out, and this
Mhm.
guy had his dog out. And Wes's dog, I thought, was an alligator, but it's not. She is something else.
Hmm.
And the two of them were just like, Wes's dog would sit and look,
Mm-hmm.
and Maya would just,
Yeah.
she's like jumping in the air trying to eat this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to it. Let's see. Day 1, day 2, we went over the ISR.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not going to go into that because it's SIGINT, but it's visual SIGINT
Okay.
on a movable platform.
Interesting.
I shouldn't say SIGINT because that's signals, but it's
Yeah. No,
It's
it's
intel.
intel gathering, or well,
but
I mean,
visually.
yeah, I can't remember the specific name of it. Literally, one of these World War
ISR.
II books has it. Yeah. So,
Then we talked about using it as kind of like a recon, the types of recon. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Various drone detectors are shown and utilized in this course. You ain't kidding. There's the standard one that's for sale. It's right back here, which, by the way, the Ukrainian one that he sells, like the price point of near 500 or 600.
yeah,
Well worth it.
yeah.
It will fit in a flashbang Molly pouch.
Oh, nice.
So there you go. There's a tip.
I believe it has an earpiece plug on it too, if I recall correct. I haven't fiddled with them enough off my top of my head, and I've seen it in his store, but he recommended me grab something else instead of that, which ended up being an HF radio, which I absolutely love. I do have a Tiny SA Ultra too, so that kind of balances stuff out. But
Yeah, he discusses how to set that up, and I
Mhm.
wish I'd have brought mine because you can put it on the two sets, and you can see the control side, the control signal, and you can see the video signal.
Interesting. Yeah.
Now, if you've also had RTO or you know anything about radio, you put that thing on a Yagi, you're going to find,
a better direction of where it is. Yeah. And that's something I think he does hit up in this Signals Intel book a little bit, or SIGINT book that he's got out. So it's not anything that's super secret ninja skills, but it does take some work. And then the messed up thing about drones is if you are running any RF out of a drone and it's not masked by a bunch of other crap, or direction, you can be direction found fairly easy. And the one thing that they've been doing over in Ukraine is using directional antennas both on the ground, pointing the direction that they've got the drone going, but they also have directional antennas on the drone as well that keep oriented towards the friendly forces, which I think is really cool, but it's something like Joe off the street's probably not going to have handy at the moment.
Yeah, that's nation level stuff. That's not something that
You could
and I are going
homebrew
to be
it.
using in the field, but
You
it's
could
something
homebrew
that
it,
you
but-
need to know. It's a capability you need to know
Yep.
of. Right. Yeah. He had we all several of us had the little handheld detector.
Mhm.
He had one that he was testing for agency, and he had another one. He had one that was one with a waterfall, and it was pretty good.
Interesting.
Yeah, there were. Well, if you go back and you look at the time of the class, he's taking pictures of these different ones, and he's going, drone detection going on.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then we see. Yeah, bring the Tiny SA. I wish I had, but you bring what you have.
Yeah.
I always joke with him. I take pictures of really old radios. Prick 19. If I bring this, can you teach me how to use it?
He can. There's probably one sitting there. I remember, and this is something about the G Camp. When we do the HF class, I like to get up there a day early for just personal. I'm up here and I don't have to mess with anything. I don't have anything to do.
Yes.
So I'll spend some time cleaning up the team room, the training area as best I can too. That kind of gives me to be fair, Scout probably appreciates that a little bit, and it gives me time to just de-stress from the world. And then I'm looking around and there's old radios, old equipment, and stuff like that. The G Camp's a chaotic mess of interesting menagerie of gear. To say the least. And he's got
over
old
here
radios
is a
and stuff
really
there.
old radio. Over there is a satellite antenna.
Yeah, over here's a new radio that's hardened kind of military style radio, and this and that, and you'll find random knives that people have forgotten, left, gear. It is a menagerie, and it is an interesting place to be.
And there are at least 6 radios on the instructor's table.
Oh, yeah, at all times. And then one of these days, the HF class, oh my God, that's a whole different story. Historian pulls out some really interesting gear, and
I'm trying to make that one. I think it's in
chaotic.
June. The end of this class.
Yes, it is. It's one of my highly recommended ones. If you have your general license, it is worth every penny to do that.
A 6100 on a inverted V out here, and I'm getting pretty good coverage over the East Coast.
So let's tie this back to the drone thing. If you're running drones and you're trying to hide from drones or from being detected, maybe sit in the Wi-Fi band. Well,
Yep.
Historian's class teaches you how to hide by setting up the antenna differently, And that's an interesting thing that would absolutely transfer to drone operations as well. So there, that class, which I don't know if you guys hit that or not, and it probably did a little bit, but there's more to it than you would
Well, that
think.
was
Now,
one of the things I was talking about with this drone in the daytime.
Yeah.
This is not a thermal drone, but in the daytime, this one doesn't show up on drone detectors, or it does alert.
Yeah.
It'll show up because it's RF energy.
Yeah.
So,
but it
I
won't
know you
alert
get it.
because it's in the Wi-Fi spectrum. You have Wi-Fi all over the place. If you turn on something to detect Wi-Fi, you'd literally just be on all the time screaming, and it would drive you nuts. So it's like the tire pressure sensors on cars that everybody can detect with the hack RFs. If you had your hack RF just pinging that, your ears would bleed unless you lived out in the middle of nowhere. Then maybe that would be useful.
Right.
So, I think we've covered most of the stuff on that class, and it is on my to-do list. Hopefully I can get out to that in June, or not June, November.
Yeah, if you read the article, I'd highly suggest you go to American Partisan. It's up there. It's the
It
drone
is.
ISR AAR, and like I said, we have to put a little scoutness in it. So
Yeah.
bring your firearm of choice because you will be utilizing it. I simulated an A10 run on them. A guy had his own drone, and as we were gonna go assault, I had him. He's like, I'm not gonna get to shoot. I'm like, but you're gonna have the greatest thing of all. He did a high-speed pass over him. I said, did you like my A10 run? Man, actually was like, yep, we were dead. You got me looking straight at it, didn't you? And he's like,
And the terrifying thing is these drones with the bombing drones and stuff like that. Again, this is kind of going back to the Ukrainians demo thing. They have their little course goes from kamikaze to bomber drones to fighter drones, which are the classifications I kind of talked about in my articles too. Just think of a bomber drone, one of the 250-pound lift capacity drones with a whole bunch of 30 Mike, or the VOG, the same thing the Russians have, the VOG rounds. Those modified and dropped on you. It doesn't have to be an A10. It really doesn't.
No.
Scout drone comes
I just
up.
saw a thing on
Boom.
X a few days ago. Somebody in Japan has a cheap-ish made out of cardboard video drone.
Yes.
And it's a winged drone, so it'll stay up a little bit longer.
They've got a couple things coming out now that have been more unique and more interesting. It'll be interesting to see what the U.S. military, and this is something I talked to Patriot Man about too. It'll be interesting to see how the U.S. adapts to the whole drone warfare, because we are high-end big objects.
Way behind, and we're stuck in the, it was like the article today about the phased arrays in released open source. We're spending way too much money for way too small, way too many or too little things.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of like, well, why don't you like your lifetime? You're a space nerd. Why don't you like what NASA's doing now? Because they're spending boatloads of money on a project that should have been done at least a decade ago. And a guy from South Africa and his team is making leaps and bounds every shot.
Yep.
And we don't need 4 years to make a new rocket.
No, and that's part of the issue that we're going to have to, as a culture in the U.S. and as a country. One of my big things is I got a new truck, absolutely love it. It's got all the bells and whistles. I'm getting older. I used to drive a beat up Nissan Xterra that got 267,000 miles in it, and I am terrified now of the new vehicles, because everything either has to be hybrid or specialized because of EPA. And the engines aren't surviving like they used to, not because the companies don't make them, it's because our system of purchasing and the government involvement has caused a lot of problems with that. And this ties back to the whole drone thing, because the same people in the government who make stupid decisions and don't let, like, the Champ, the Hilux, and all the other nice trucks into the U.S., at a cheap price point. You may not have great stuff. It's got AC, it runs, it's got a radio, but you don't have all the perks and bells and whistles and the auto stops and the auto lane changes. They're cheap, they're good, they're quality, and they still work. And they're sold everywhere else in the world because people don't have the money to buy a new vehicle every 2 to 3 years. Neither do we.
The other day at work, I'm just farting around. So okay, Grok, what is the cheapest new American car? They're cheapest new car sold in America, not American made.
Yeah.
Cheapest new car sold in America, $20,000. And a lot of you may go, okay, well, that's all right. I don't make a whole lot much more than that.
Yeah.
The cheapest car back in my day, when I was in high school, we had the Yugo. You go walk out with a fully loaded Yugo, made in Yugoslavia, but still it was Yugo, but it was a new car.
Yep.
$5,000.
Kias used to be relatively cheap too. Now they're, I guess, the standard.
It is a
now.
Kia. It
Yeah.
is a Kia. It's a crossover, Kia
Yeah.
crossover. $20,000 for the
Yeah.
cheapest new car.
It's ridiculous, but the worst part about this is the government looks at it the same way, and they look at it as somebody who has the funds to burn, so they want the best, most interesting products that are going to be the best, which I don't disagree with. Like, there was a fighter pilot who said a clean F-16 will beat an F-35 in a visual dogfight. That means they can see each other with the Mark 1 eyeball. And it's because the F-16 was designed to dogfight. The F-35 was not. And they said if you put one F-35 or two F-35s against like 6 or 8 F-16s, and then you put them at range, the F-35s win every day, which I think is a positive thing.
They did that out at the Tonopah Range. They smoked the F-35 with the OPFOR that is used to their F-5s and everything.
Yep.
They were smoking. They were getting 6 to 7 to 1.
Yep. No. And that's a great thing. I think it's awesome. Iran did hit one of our F-35s or something, and I don't think they're never impervious. Nothing is impervious. Nothing is perfect, and that's something to remember.
If it flies, it's got heat. And if it's got heat, it can be brought down.
Yep. And if the same thing with the drones, but the problem I'm concerned with, and in my article, I was talking about how everybody besides Sikorsky, which made the UH-60 drone, everybody else wants a big drone, or they want a drone mothership with a whole bunch of little drones off of it, which is a smart move. There's some tactical advantages. You put a nice big fat drone up there that they can't detect. It's got stealth. It drops off a whole bunch of loitering munition drones, basically, and all that stuff can be tracked in. It's not a bad move because you can punch through a lot of the jamming that way in a cool concept. But what happens when they get lucky and have a drone up there, a fighter drone, and they smack all of your drones all at once?
Let's look at this from a different perspective. It has happened recently with the drone mothership idea, okay?
Yeah.
We're all forgetting about when Ukraine hit like at least 10% of all of Russia's aerial assets in one day.
Yep.
Okay? And where did all of those drones come from? Trucks.
Yep. And there's a lot to be had with it.
You can have all these drones on a drone mothership. If I bring down that mothership,
and how much was that
doing squat?
How much was that mothership to prepare? How many of those loitering munition drones? How much did they cost per? And that's the thing. I don't think drones are a game changer as tanks are, and eventually there will be a point where the tanks are combated and the drones are combated the same ways we learned to defeat tanks, just different technology, different concepts. And I still fully believe that a drone is nothing more than a good price point guided missile, like the Dragon missiles of yesteryears.
It's a good price point tow.
Yeah. Very good price point tow. They're still expensive. I believe something Ukraine says they're about $2,000 or $1,500 per kamikaze drone. And that's not cheap for a citizen, but it's not bad for a military. It's actually pretty good value. I have no idea what our laws cost.
In our context, and while we're going tying it back again to drone ISR, we're not going to be doing FPVs.
You won't have the opportunity.
We're doing this for a reconnaissance to aid, and that's what it is. It's an intelligence asset. So,
and the thing is, when you learn about this, when you learn about the ISR side of it, you learn about how you could potentially be used against you as an attack vector. And that's the important thing, because I'll never tell anyone go do something stupid and pretend you're a Ukrainian kamikaze pilot. That will get you thrown in jail, and it's not worth your time. but learning the ISR side means that you know how to do it. Like,
Yeah,
for
that's
instance,
the other part I took away. I sat out with the scout at
yeah,
night. I'm like, I had a good idea about the drones, but this class really cemented the ideas that I had,
hmm
and these were my own ideas.
yep,
And they also dispelled some ideas that I had,
yeah,
and it opened my eyes to other possibilities of use.
yeah, and that's the thing I like about Scouts courses. Scouts courses never delve into stupid stuff or illegal stuff or like the weird cringy crap online that I see posted. It allows you to understand how nefarious actors could come after a community.
That's the flip side of the coin of all the classes he teaches is this could be also used against you, and you need to recognize that.
And how do you defend against that and everything else? And that starts off with just detection. And I think that's, what was it, day 3 you guys kind of were dealing with that? Or was that
Yeah, the last day was what to do if you're being observed.
and
Yeah,
that's
drone
the,
detectors were on day 2. Day 3 was what to do when you are being observed
and that's
instead
the
of you were observing.
key point of this whole thing is, and tying back to the Ukrainian war and all the other stuff that's going on with the drones, the fact that most people, once they acknowledge that there's drones in the environment, have no idea A, how they're going to be attacked, and B, what to do. I hate to say this because, like, I don't like being on one side or the other of the Ukrainian war, not because I think Russia's good or anything like that. I hate to get drawn into the politics of it. I still think Ukraine should be its own country for various reasons, personal beliefs. But the reality of it is I see too many people in that conflict doing dumb crap because they don't know what to do once they detect the drone itself. I watched one of the videos, I can't remember, it was a Mr. Guns and Gear or something on X. He posted a video of a guy shooting at a drone with a shotgun. And he's like, oh, they hit it with a shotgun. But if you pay attention closely, I think it was jammed and it veered off course and hit nearby instead of hitting or being shot down. And people
Right.
just don't understand. Like, you flying overhead and saying, hey, here's my A-10 run, that gives the people on the ground, oh my God, this drone could have been a bad guy drone with
Yep.
bomblets. I'm toast. What should I have done differently? And that's,
Yep.
you'll never get everything in a class. Everything.
There's a video on American Partisan, what it's like to be in a drone swarm.
I've seen that.
It's a good one. It's also on X. You can put it up, or pull it up. And these guys are in a building, and they're just okay. And then you talking Ukrainian or Russian, they're close. And the only time you hear it is the very end. You hear that high speed quadcopter, and then you
Yeah.
hear the kind of like a grenade.
Yep.
And then dust coming out of the ceiling. And there's no time reference on it, but they're just you can't move outside of this building because there's obviously an observation drone, I'm guessing.
Mhm.
But there's an observation drone overhead, and anybody moving outside, it's,
Yep.
they're just this thing relentlessly.
They see
Um,
just demolishing buildings at this point because they can't. They can observe you going into a building. They can't guarantee they're gonna kill you with a precision strike. So they're just leveling everything, much like artillery. Which
I
is
go back to the movie
terrifying.
Shooter. I go
Yeah.
back to the movie Shooter when they got the guy, whatever it was, that was in the wheelchair, and they were talking about how they thought they had killed him. Well, they got him down to this building. They didn't mess around anymore. They just dropped the building, and that's kind of how it is in Ukraine.
Yep. It's terrifying, and God forbid we have that stuff come over in the U.S. I'm terrified of the cartels doing that because it's very easy for the cartels to
Tying that into the
pressure.
cartels and the drones, there was an episode in season 2 of The Lioness that I watched. That episode, they were doing it was a cross border with Mexico exchange or something. Things that happened at that episode I was like, oh my word. I said other adult words, but it was things that we had been discussing theoretically at
Mhm.
G-Camp with drones.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that somebody's been listening.
Watching the cartels is more terrifying than the whole Ukrainian and Iranian war just for the simple fact that there is no, as poorly as all parties are following the Geneva Convention in Ukraine, and this isn't a slight to them, I get it. If you have your innocent casualties who are no threat get bombed by drones, the retaliation is real. And I
Yes.
empathize and sympathize, which means I understand. And I also have some sympathy for that. Like I feel for you. So I get the reaction to it. But the cartels don't have, they'll never have an officer say, no, don't hit the civilians. Like that will never come out of their words.
What they're going to do is don't hit those civilians.
Or don't hit the meth heads that are buying our product.
Try not to hit these civilians.
Yeah. And I believe that all parties over there do have some restraint from time to time and don't want to look like complete monsters. Whether they are or not is a whole different story. It's so much so that like every ship in the Gulf submerged by random Iranian attack ship is a testament to Iran not wanting to look like a complete piece of crap. If they wanted to,
I think that's a Chinese thing.
I do too. I think there's more pressure to it, and being like after not being totally flattened and nuked into oblivion, they're realizing, hey, we're still a country. We still have to play this game, and it still has to be as political as it is tactical feature.
Oh my goodness, they actually did take away all of the things they said they were going to take away.
Yeah. The cartels, on the other hand, like it's
cartels have their own country.
Yeah, but
they're allowing the people that think they run the country to run the country.
Correct. And the worst side of that is the cartels do have control structure and everything else like that. They're very organized, very well organized.
Oh yeah.
In the same respects, they can do whatever they want because they have said we're already criminals in everybody's eyes, sometimes international criminals like Maduro, but who cares? I almost said Mondani too, which, hey, I had to throw in one.
He might be. Did you see what he did yesterday?
No, I had to throw in one commie comment in here just for everybody's sake.
If you have luxury or if you own a building or if you own a property in New York City that is worth more than $5 million, which is every single one, and you don't live in New York City, which is a lot of them, they're going to tax you at a huge rate. This is going to make so much money. We're actually taxing the rich. And I'm like, you're fixing a huge problem.
Yeah, and they can't sell. They can't sell the real estate because the real estate now, if I'm correct, and I may be wrong, this is why I like talking about politics, but I also stay out of it with COTS a lot of times because I don't have all the answers. You talk to NC Scout, you talk to Joe Dolio, those guys have receipts for days and are almost rarely wrong. I mess crap up, but I believe there's something where they have to sell before they sell the building. They have to like put it up.
They have to offer it to days or something. They have to offer it to the city of New York for 90 days.
Nonprofits or something.
Yep, at cost.
Yeah. I wish everybody in that state good luck. I will never move to that state. I wish everybody in California
the southern end of the state, Albany South, and Buffalo.
Well, when you have a nose ring and a chain attached to it being drug along, you're shit out of luck anyways. It's one of my friends lives up in Virginia, and he's like everybody who's watched Virginia right now is like, oh my God. Yeah. And I love Virginia, and I feel bad for him. He's like, we've gone through this before. We'll go through it again. We've watched a lot of repealing of stupid stuff from back in the day, and now they're going to go back to it again. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Thank God for FPC.
Now I have to go. I absolutely have to go through the I-40 gorge when I go to the G camp because I can't transport an AR-15 through the state of Virginia.
Yeah. When I was driving on the road, I had the extra couple hours to go around Illinois. If I had to go in that direction at all, I would just go around the bottom tip and go up because I didn't want to cross that piece of property. Theoretically, you could probably do it legally, but again, this is why I don't talk about politics and lawfare because I don't know enough. But
the fastest way for me is I-81 up to 58, which is most of 58 is over and it ends up in Danville, and then I pop
Mhm.
back down in North Carolina. So now I have to go because I'm going to be hauling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guts. Good jig.
Yep. Yep. And you and the fowls.
Yeah, well, you should see the new. I gave one of my fowls a tit and rail job.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so instead of just the regular profile, he's
Mhm.
got a full top rail from front to back.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's got a Kyber 1 to 5, and the picture I have has one of my Sting IR thermals in front of it.
Oh, nice.
So it's talking about that I couldn't see squat in the
Yeah.
trees because the trees were so hot.
I've
Yeah.
got to figure out. I have to get on Mando's butt, get an upper built, and have a thermal dedicated upper that is my go-to. I've
Yeah,
got
I'm fixing to do that the same, and I think I'm gonna paint that one. If I can figure out how to do the paint scheme, I'd like to do it in Night Desert, and that would
Oh.
be, yep, that's my night gun. You know, pop
Uh,
the things, put on the Night Desert upper, click.
yeah, yeah. But let's transition away from the drones for a while, and let's talk about carrying stuff because I know you brought that topic up, and I think you brought up Ratnik gear, which also kind of ties into
Yes.
Ukraine, and I find that absolutely hilarious because just recently, I don't remember if it was Clay Martin, the author slash SF dude that a lot of people follow. I think he posted a picture of an M16A2 sitting on Vietnam style harness kit with a
Yes, I
belt.
saw that.
And
Yes,
I think it was Clay. But
it
tell
was.
tell me a little bit about your Ratnik stuff.
First of all, I blame you because I showed up and it was like, what is this camo that this man has? And yeah, you had the Ratnik, and then
Mhm.
I had to go and look it up.
Mhm.
And the more I looked at it, I was like, yeah, that's some pretty significant good stuff. And it works for our AO, the Southeast
Yep.
United States. It is a digital camo for, I don't know, how would you call it? Darkness or winter and summer.
Yeah. That'd probably good one.
Yeah. In the winter is not what you think it is. It's darker than the
Mhm.
summer one. But what it is, it's a smock.
Mhm.
And what I really liked, I like the smock more than I like the pants. I like the smock because it has a hood that also has a face net over the front.
Yep.
And in looking at yours, I looked at it like, oh, that's good. And then I got mine and I tried it, and it also has tiny little loops on the arms and on the thing that you can add foliage to. It's not meant for like a ghillie that you're just gonna like put some jute or whatever else on. It's meant to put foliage on, and or not.
Yep.
It's still gonna look good. I did OPT4 with it in the spring, and the idea was that you invert the top and the bottom, is what I was told. A Patriot man could tell you, he was there, and you ran the totally green on the bottom,
Yep.
and the winter at the top. But
Which is a gray. It's a lot of them are a gray color on the
It
winter
is.
side of it. It's not.
It is.
It's not what you think like a snow pattern. They do have them
No.
out there, and I'll add to this right now. Getting a hold of Ratnik anything
oof.
is impossible right now. You will probably have a better chance of getting a nice used car than getting Ratnik. I'll also add to this, and this is something I didn't do the research on because at the time I got my stuff, I was doing OPT4 stuff, and that was my primary thing. I was like, I'm going to do OPT4. I want to be the Russians, just for the sake of it. Be different than wearing just tan or something that sticks out. I want something they look at and they go, what the hell is that? Before they go, I need to shoot that because it's not any of my team. And to be
It's
fair,
not
like,
multicam.
it's not multicam, it's not M81, it's not Realtree. So what the hell is this? Why is this person out there? And to be fair, like, I like the AK. I've told
Yeah,
everybody.
you were running AK. I forget who you had with you, but yeah, y'all looked good.
Yeah, I think Rabbit was out there because he's got some of the similar gear. He actually ended up buying some Ukrainian gear before this whole war kicked off, and it was phenomenally comfortable. But what I will say is almost everything Russian was stolen ideas from other countries. So you might want to check out Sweden and some of the other countries for the listeners who are like, oh, I'd love to have this, but it's unobtainium right now. Because some of
Right.
the gear, not just the smocks, their uniforms, they have a cutout in the crotch with a mesh to keep your balls nice and cool. And they do it in the armpits too. That wasn't their idea. I think that was the Swedes or something, Finland.
Yeah,
or
that
something like
ratnik
that.
with the armpit mesh is
Yeah.
very nice. Very nice.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
The only problem I have with the rat is that while it's reversible,
Mm-hmm.
there's no pockets.
Now, some do have
Well,
pockets,
there are
but
like 4 pockets over the whole thing. There
Mhm.
are no pockets on the pants.
Yeah.
None.
yeah, the
You do
pants are
have
out.
pass-through, so if you're wearing pants underneath,
And remember this, all this stuff's made for Russia and the northern side of Europe. That was the idea of where they're fighting, so it's not exactly where you're going to be sweating to death. This probably be far more comfortable in Montana where Joe is than it
Yes.
is where I am right now. I literally couldn't wear this stuff right now without being butt naked.
no,
under it. I
ratnik
would
is
die.
nowhere near my spring or summer stuff. No.
Unless you want to be a
it's
heat
over there.
casualty.
It's over there on the, nope, it's there. I have some in my get home bag,
Mm-hmm.
only as is a coverall.
And it's
so
a great
I can-
coverall.
I can put some, if I'm doing, get out of my EMS work thing,
Mhm.
put on some spandex pants or something, and put the ratnik on the bottom and some lace up boots. I'm good to go.
It's
I
I
can
always had one
90% move.
in my kit too, on my travel kit. There's always one set. Just I don't, and this is something that we could probably debate until the cows come home, and is debated over and over and over again online to the point that I want to shoot myself. And it's almost as bad as the what caliber pistol I should carry. Is
Oh, please.
should you wear civilian clothes? Should you wear military stuff? Blah 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 blah.
Tools in the toolbox.
Yes, yes. And most of the people, listening to us, the 5 of you who like us, already know this and have already had this debate. And God forbid some of you new guys come in. There's no right answer until there is a problem. Then there's
Yes.
a right answer, and you got to figure it out then.
Yes. Tools in the toolbox.
Yep.
The 2 guns at my bedside that would be, well, not necessarily the bed gun because
Mhm.
they don't have flashlights. I've got a Hellcat
Mm-hmm.
and I've got a 1911.
How do you
And
like your
depending on the day.
Hellcat?
What's that?
How do you like your Hellcat?
I love it.
Okay.
Again, as you know, pistols are picky.
Mm-hmm.
Your hand is not going to
Absolutely.
fit a Hellcat like my hand fits a Hellcat.
No.
People said, look at the shield. And I went, okay. And I tried a shield and
Didn't like it.
no. It didn't speak to me.
Fair. It's fair.
Uh,
I've got friends who got the Hellcat, and I just have never been personally impressed with it, and it's just kind of like, and I don't crap on them. I'm not like, ooh, I
Right.
hate them.
Like crap on any platform now that I'm older.
There's a couple out there that I'm like,
Well, High Point, but the only thing I can say nice about a High Point is they work.
and they're cheap. They're very cheap. Like if you have no money and you're a poverty person and you need a pistol, and there are bad people in your neighborhood, it's not a bad gun. And God
No.
forbid if you got to use it, and the cops come and say, "Oh, you had a self-defense. We got to keep this." You're not crying over it.
Nope.
The guy
That's
with the
the reason that-
1911 that's $3,000, he's in a self-defense situation. Like, we need to
That's
keep
why
this
I
for
use the Rock
investigation.
Island 1911s.
It's like,
I've got
they're gonna
my
cry.
father's combat commander, and I
Mhm.
love that thing. That was the first 45 I ever shot.
Well,
I went from 22s to a 357 or to a 45 to a 357. Those were the 3 calibers I grew up on like 6, 8, and 10. And I have that one. And I was like, yeah, let me carrying the combat commander.
I can't wait for my wife to hear this because we had a whole conversation debate about like when kids should have firearms. And I'm so glad that it's 6, 8, and 10. You were going from the 22 to the 57 to
Yeah.
45. I'm just gonna gently, when she listens to it, just look at her, and she's gonna have that conversation because
Well, I lived in Georgia when my kids were smaller, and that's just a whole dark side of my life. If you follow me on X, usually I put my divorce papers up in the living room for 2 years, and now if you go, we could have a whole good discussion on generational wealth. My
Yeah.
stepdaughter is going to probably be the one that inherits this place.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, "Oh, the boomers are selling." It's because their kids don't want to live where they're at.
Nope.
Could I sell this place for $350? Oh, yes, I could.
Yep.
If my kids were like, no. Yeah. And then instead, she's going to live here. And I was like, okay. Or she's going to move up here with her kids. I'm like, when I go, this place is going to go and you don't have to pay the free.
Yep.
And that's generational wealth. Anyway, that's a whole other different discussion.
That's something I need to get into, trusts and all that other stuff, because I don't understand enough about it, and it's insane.
Oh, this is just estate.
Yeah. Yep. But
This is acreage and land.
Yep.
And buildings and stuff. Now, trust, as I understand it, is a different thing that are really be moved or can't be touched. It's a different thing. When I get into suppressors, yeah, that'll be in the trust.
that I just got into that. So that was another thing that was brought up. I think NC Scout has some really good info on that, and I appreciate.
Oh, well, I can tell you exactly how and he'll tell you the exact thing I did because I was looking at it
Mm.
before my father passed away.
Yep.
Almost 10 years ago. You pay for and get the paperwork done.
Yep.
But you don't take until you have the trust.
Yeah.
Now, who takes possession of said suppressor is the trust.
But you can still carry it around. I had a friend and we did a trust together just in case something happened to him. And
Right.
now with the $0 stuff, if you want to do a trust, it's actually easier because you're not paying for it. It's
Oh, yeah,
complicated
there's
because you got to
things-
have everybody
Oh,
there.
there's
but
tons of things I want to SBR now. It was like $200 a piece, please.
yeah, it's not
No.
worth it. I've got an AK
Yeah.
that has a fixed pinned fake suppressor on it, and I would love to. It's a crank off, and I'd love to.
Oh, no,
take
my
it off there.
MP5 is going to get SBR'd. I know it is.
That'd be fun too. Just on a side note, replicator suppressors are a flow through. I'm a big fan of Huxworks.
Yeah, I
flow-through
saw you
stuff.
talking about that. Oh, the replicator.
I couldn't remember because he brought up YMC or Yankee
Yankee
Arm.
Hill.
Yankee Hill, and they have suppressors too, and they look
YHM.
really nice. Yeah, YHM, there we go. And they're really cool. So he has the replicator suppressors that he looked at. And he said they look really good and are great. I was out in Utah, and the only reason I have suppressors, they have a thing called Utah, and they have suppressors galore out there. Wendigo Works, if you've seen them on X.
I'm familiar with them.
Very good dudes, very good gear. They're out in Utah. I met up with them. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of suppressors out there. I think they're really cool. I think they are a force multiplier in some respects, but they were also something that I heard during the initial stage of the Ukraine war. Were getting phased off people's kits that were bringing them in because they were just extra weight and they caused issues and everything else. So it's definitely something like if you're going to get a suppressor to run it, test it out and make sure it works first.
It's a tool in the toolbox.
Yep. But make sure it works because I bought I won a 22 suppressor from Huxworks. And long story short, and I brought it up before, it was a process to get it, nothing to do with Huxworks. They were amazing. When I put it on my Ruger Mark IV, I need to change my springs out for the specific ammo I used, and that's something you learn with all this stuff. And honestly, I need to sit down with Wisco Mando and go through that.
22s like the ammo that they like.
They're finicky in the first place, and then you add on a can on that. It's a whole other thing. So
You mean this 1,000 rounds of 22 that I put away that you don't like with a suppressor on it anymore?
because I haven't shot it in a while, or I haven't cleaned the weapon, or it's yeah. But the interesting thing about 22s is it will teach you how to maintain your weapons and take care of your stuff.
Yes.
Because if you don't, with your better
Ooh.
guns, your pistols, your rifles, they'll run longer because they were designed to take the abuse. But why abuse a machine that you're relying your life on? And people forget that.
The largest round count I ever put through anything was my first Glock 21. Just because this was the 90s and the Glock was like, we put it in if you remember from that time frame, we've put it in a frozen block, and people were throwing them out of airplanes.
Yep.
Glocks are indestructible. And I was
I
like,
remember it.
not a problem. I had a Gen 3. I think it was. It was either 2 or a 3. No, it was this. It didn't have the finger hold front, so it was probably a 2. And I was doing IPSC at the time when I was in the Marines, and I never. You know, you're holding onto a tree trunk, 13-round tree trunk, and you're doing IPSC with 3-dot sights, because that's the way I was raised, with 3-dot sights.
Yep.
And I got 900 rounds out of it, and my father was like, "All right, I'm gonna hold on," because I had to go do Marine Corps things. My father was like, "When was the last time you cleaned this?" I was like, "Well, I got it from Glock." He goes, "You've never cleaned it?" And I'm like, "It's kind of like the
It need to be cleaned, I swear.
kind of like the M16 in the 60s. It doesn't need to be cleaned." He's like, to be fair, another thing, said that same pistol, I think it was 2011. This pistol is like, never shoot lead rounds through it. Okay. Well, I would go and shoot lead rounds through it, and I'd put, 3 or 4 FMJs through it just to clear the barrel. And, it started to stovepipe on me. I'm like, all right, wait a minute. Glocks don't stovepipe. What the hell is going on? So this was before 9/11. I went to Smyrna, Georgia. I walked into Glock in Smyrna, Georgia, which was an interesting thing. I should write it.
You should. I'd be
do any
interested
good
in that.
anymore, because that was 20 years ago, and you can't do it anymore. But even then, it was, go into this door.
Yep.
We'll allow you to sit in this room with 4 cameras in it. And
I tried to go by
secretary, you're
Shadow
talking-
Systems. I tried to go by Shadow Systems and didn't realize, they're a manufacturer. They don't have a storefront. So,
well, Glock they're in Smyrna, and they're in the light industrial area.
Yep.
But it's the way they have their fence looks like everybody else's. You can tell, you look at it really close and realize that the tops of the tops of everybody else has their little heart-shaped whatever arrows.
spades, Yeah.
Yeah. Theirs are sharpened and pointed out towards the road.
Yep.
And I
Makes
talked to the
sense.
gate guard, and I'm like, I've got this, don't be alarmed. I have this pistol. I need it fixed. And he's like, go over here, park. And I walked in, and she buzzed me in, and like, this guy comes over and he goes, "You got a problem?" And I'm like, clicky, clicky, clicky. It don't work.
Yeah.
And so he goes back in the back, and I'm sitting there and I'm reading, things like this. And guy comes walking through, goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm here for maintenance. And he goes, "Yeah, those things are pretty bad and everything. Have a good day." And on the next article I flip over, that was the guy that just walked through the lobby in the magazine. And like, and so guy comes back out and he goes, "Yep, you're all fixed. Here it is, everything." And I was like, "Okay." And I'm like, I have just had my shit Glock fixed at the factory. How much is this going to cost?
Yeah.
So how much do I owe you? He goes, "Well, you broke the extractor." I broke a Glock extractor.
Yep.
So you bent the trigger bar. I bent a fucking trigger bar. Anyway, he goes, "So we replaced all of this stuff, and we got it up, and it works good. We did a test firing," and it looked like I can barely hear it in the background.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm like, "How much does this cost?" He goes, "What? It's $380 in parts, or you can just leave.
Oh, nice.
Have a nice day."
I had a similar thing with a Walther. I was a Walther guy. I love Glocks for what they are. I think they're a great gun, and I have abused the snot out of 2 of them. I have a 40 caliber ones. At the time, 40 caliber was the big thing, and I was like, all right, well, get Glock in the 40 caliber before I knew everything about them. But my Walther had 21,000 rounds through it. Yeah, 2100 and 3 zeros. I used to shoot a ton. And this was back when it was $9 for 100 rounds of Walmart pistol ammo, and we were shooting just insane. I got a high-capacity magazine as a gift for a friend, and this is back during the whole Bill Clinton stupid stuff, too, so you couldn't get, like, high-capacity magazines, all that crap, so we're shooting 10-round mags. I snapped the ejector rod on it. Oh. Because the magazine went just high enough. If you slammed it home, it would snap. It'd come in contact with it. I didn't realize that I got a stovepipe every 100 rounds. Walther paid for it to be shipped to them and back, and it cost me nothing, which blew my mind.
Nice. See, yeah.
As much as I'm not a big fan of Walther now, not because they're bad guns, they don't fit my hands anymore,
Right.
and they're just not my thing. I like the SIG 365. I have a big issue with SIG and how they've treated the 320s and some of their
There's
stuff.
only one SIG I want. I want one that is actually marked M17.
Yeah, and Glock has that history too. So if you read a book, I read the book on Glock. Great, fascinating history about them too. They've had their time and they've lawsuited and lawfare and stuff. So I'm not shocked.
I
And
actually have something over here. Well, I'd have to dig it up. It's in this box thing here. What I buy is I buy Glock 23s because nobody wants the Glock 40s.
Yep.
Well, I buy the 23s and then I
Mhm.
go to Wolf Tactical and I buy the 9mm conversion barrels.
Yeah, I had a 357 SIG a conversion barrel because I didn't like the
Mhm.
40 too much, and now I realize how much of an idiot I am. But
Well, the 40,
you hear stuff back in the
no,
day,
we're
and you
not-
get told
now,
stuff.
that can be a whole nother
Oh, yeah.
conversation. Yeah, I've shot.
But the 40's a fine round. Preference wise,
I go to gun
meh.
shows and with my girlfriend, and I'm like, I've had it, I've shot it, I've had it, I've
Mhm.
shot
Yeah.
it, I've shot it, I sold it, I have it, I shot it, I had it, I shot it, I had it.
Yep.
And really? And I'm like, would you like me to show you how this works?
Yeah.
Yeah. The die motherfucker die.
Yep.
Can't do that one. Sorry. That's good for the saw because it's slow, but the M16 at the beginning,
Mhm.
I watched Platoon and how fast they're shooting
Yep.
was how fast they originally were.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because my father had an SP1 done in the 70s, and that thing went empty 30 rounds in
An instant. Yeah.
just over a second.
Yep.
Just over a second. And some people are like, you
I-
really shot it? Yes, I did. I've shot an MG42. I was 8 years old. They put me in a, they put the strap over my shoulder.
Yep.
And I did it. Yeah. 8 years old. You can still do full auto an MG42. You got to lean into it, as you know, for full autos.
Have you seen the meme that goes around X every once in a while? It's like guns aren't for children, crew served weapons are, and it's always an MG42 or a mortar system.
Yeah. Well, no, I haven't seen that one, but I can tell you, I shot an MG42 at 8 years old. When it was like, all right, so hold it down and walk it through that tree.
Yeah. Whoo.
Gotta love
You
the
got lucky.
70s, baby.
Yeah. Whew. One quick point before we continue on. Wes Hightower I'm in one of their alumni chats, but he said there's also a one-day CTR seminar on 19th June, which should be up in Fayetteville as well, that is being taught in conjunction with the surveillance photography course. Tell people to use the code RALLY.5 at checkout to save $5 on mountain readiness tickets, which they also sell on their website too. So if you're going up there and you're like going to go to see his stuff or whatever else, there's an opportunity for you to go to mountain readiness, and I almost forgot to plug that. And your sponsor is brushbeater.store. So side note on that one.
I'll say I'm going to be at the mountain readiness here, 2-3 weeks?
I'm jealous because Rabbit's been up there multiple times.
I got one better. I
Oh.
can tie into something else.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to have my solar generator, there.
Oh, okay.
the one that I talk about in my thing.
Yep.
And I've thought I'll maybe think about building a few of these for people that won't sue me when they grew up and burned themselves to death. But if I was going to build one, see, this ties into my solar partisan. I love that. We can talk about that on another one, or I can keep talking about it now.
Let's save that for another one because I'd love to talk to you about that. And there's also a book I want to read, OT8. He's a radio guy, but he has all the energy requirements for radios and stuff like that. And he's an off-grid dude. I need to sit down and read that too, so I can bounce more stuff off your head. I think that's a great topic too. Because
You read all of the things on the solar for the partisan, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm plugged through all that stuff.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. In the beginning of March, I self-invited myself to go with some Boy Scouts up a mountain. And I had a 152 because, that's what you do.
Yep.
With some other, and everybody was using their cell phones.
Yep.
Well, everybody's asking me, well, why do you got this big 40,000 mAh thing?
Yep.
In your gear? Like, well, because number one, it'll take half of that to charge this whole radio.
Yep.
And this radio would last 5 days, but this radio is already charged. And the other part was everybody kept saying, are we there yet? Are you there? We're checking your phones. And we're so far out that it's doing that extra drain, battery drain.
Can't find its location. Can't hit the towers, and it just eats.
Yeah, they get down to where it's at. They're like, I'm at like 30%. I'm plugging my shit in. Yeah. No, this is almost a pound, and I'm still running all of my electronics.
Yep.
And the other part was there was a rainstorm coming. That was the other part was that I really wanted to go do it. There was a rainstorm. Fucking fuck my knee up walking on logs. Fucking anyway.
Yeah. Mount Yuna has abused the hell out of me a few times.
I ran the Basha. I'm a big fan of the Basha.
Yep.
And so is Dolio. I ran the Basha and the intermediate USMC bag and a Gore-Tex shell.
Okay.
For some thunderstorms.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I didn't do right was place my drip line off of a tree.
Okay.
Other than that, I would go. I had a small tarp underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice all night, except for my leg. I was a 40-pound belt rig.
Oh.
I don't know if you've seen it, but my belt rig. But belt rig and the USMC Philby top thing.
Okay.
The assault pack.
Yeah.
With two. Yeah. And I was hauling a shovel.
Keep your shovel sharp, boys.
Yeah. I didn't know we were going to run into, if I needed to take but ran into all that. But I had that, and all night I could watch where the rain was coming in on my phone that was doing its
freak
extra.
Out.
Yeah. And the next day people coming down, my phone's dead. And I'm like, I learned my lesson. I don't keep that damn thing right there. But those 40,000 mAh, 40,000 mAh batteries will drop to 50%. They will, that will fully charge a 152.
Okay. That's nice to know. Very nice to know. You didn't get your Basha and Flectarn, did you? Because I know they're floating around.
I do not have one in Flectarn.
Okay.
I have one in Multicam, or not Multicam. Excuse me.
I have one in
Multiclam. My ex-wife all over it. I'm sorry.
Oh.
No, I have a British Scorpion.
Oh, that's nice. Nice pattern.
And then I have a British Desert.
Interesting.
Yes.
I almost bought a British kit. I was out in Oklahoma. I building a jet engine facility of all things, and I had to go to the surplus stores. There's actually a phenomenal history museum out there, and the name escapes me of the book that I read. But if you
where was it?
Wisco. It's out in Oklahoma City, I believe.
There's in Oklahoma City. There is a phenomenal Army Navy store.
Yes. I think it's probably the same one, and they had that in there. He used to apparently sell guns out there, but now he sells like uppers and some stuff too.
Yeah. I remember in the 80s, my grandparents, we went out there, and there was like
they
had like an aircraft on top of the building or something. I think,
like that. Yeah. Anyways, super cool place, and like I was buying ammo, we were going out to shoot and a whole bunch of other stuff with a bunch of the dudes. But they had the whole British Desert like full kit up. And I refrained from buying it, but man, I really wanted to check it out. Because when you start messing with kit from other countries, you start understanding the defects in our gear and the advantages in some of our gear too.
Yes. That's why I like the Basha.
Yeah. Super, super cool. I actually made one way, way back in the day out of sil nylon. Unfortunately, it's solid black, which is not the best camouflage on the planet. I could have spray painted it, but
you don't say.
It was cheap sil nylon, and I was more camping than prepping at the time, and I wanted a really good ground tarp because I was doing a lot of hammock stuff, but I also used it as a basha too, so it worked out pretty well. I had all the loops and all the nice attachments, but I actually sewed that myself, and I was very proud of the damn thing, and they're super light. You can get some really nice ones.
Yeah, wait for Are you going to come out in November?
I'm gonna try to.
October?
So as of right now,
No. There is no try. There is do or do not.
don't Yoda me on my own podcast, sir. I am now married. My life is not mine anymore. You should know that.
Well, you know,
So
you're 6 months out. You can start making these plans. 6 months. That's why I'm getting I want to get the band back together. I want so much up for. Hey, man, do I need to make room for you? No, I'm here to shoot you.
we need to go out and start making some better plans with Outpour because we go out and play the game. But I think one of the things, if we do this, I've been meaning to do this for a while, but I've had to go and do historians.
It's amazing,
courses.
Mark. You have not said fuck once.
Really?
It's amazing.
I could have sworn I did. Could have sworn.
Oh, well, you may have done it once, but not when you're in person. And it's like every
Yeah.
fifth word.
Yeah, I've been going to church more, so I'm trying to be a better person. It's a struggle bus. It's a struggle bus. Especially with one of the ladies that goes to church. She's 70 years old. Super phenomenal lady. And she's about as bad as I am. And I love every moment of it.
Yeah, look.
Redacted name.
Last time he said could listen to she listens to your cots when I'm due. There she is. She's coming home. I can see her on the camera. And she's like,
Redacted name.
he hasn't said once. Like, it doesn't sound like him. I'm like, yeah.
I try not to. I try to be a little more civil on these, so.
Can we fucking do the fuck thing? The fuck, that's something. I'm like, this man is using this word in creative ways.
It's just an adjective, and I learned it because my parents
it's an
were
adjective, and a
firefighters.
verb, and a noun.
Yes, it's everything. It is absolutely everything, and it's my favorite word. I got Joe was on my ass hardcore for it. So I've been trying to cut back. I've been trying to be a better Christian, but it's a struggle.
You need to
Every
be
day.
a better. Well, you know, as noted in, or as we like to note in, what is it? You don't have to be a better Christian. You have to be a better religious man.
Yeah.
God doesn't see in the church. He notices here, and he points to the head. He points to the. What is that?
Well, then let's wrap this up so both of us can go.
So good. I can cook that. Unless you got to go.
I got to go because I got to cook for her. I'm going to end up eating at 9 o'clock, and the heartburn as a grown adult.
I forget you're in the Eastern time zone.
So let's see here. We were talking about the Oklahoma and the not only the pretty cool surplus stores there, but they actually have a really cool museum out there, and they have one of like a handful of marksmanship rifles that were operated by, I believe, the Confederate side. And there's a whole book on that subject. After post-production, I will sit down and figure out what book it is. I read it. It was a guy who owned slaves, everything else. And in the end of it, he treated slaves real well, which is not really the story.
I really don't want to get
No,
Civil War was not about slavery.
No, well, not for this guy especially. And that's the whole thing that comes up. His kids got involved and didn't really. It's a historical novel about this guy, and his kids, I believe his son was murdered by a union, and it was this real messed up way, and the union came in and just treated them all like crap. And he was one of those guys who didn't want to get involved in the war in general. He didn't have feelings one way or another. He ended up freeing his slaves, a whole bunch of other stuff in the whole process. But he got this very, very, very precision black powder rifle, and he went up to a bend in the river and was just smoking Union officers on steamboats and everything else. And it's a phenomenal thing. But either his gun is there or one of the clones of it, like the few that were made, is there in that museum along with tanks and everything else. It's probably one of the only places, like if you ever go through Oklahoma City, and you're a
I'm
military guy, it
probably
would
going
a
to be
stop.
going through Oklahoma City because that's where Jack's Redhead.
Post-production G here. The museum is called the Oklahoma National Guard Museum. It's the 45th Infantry Museum specifically. They have a lot of their historical weapons and things that we talked about on display there. There's also a rifle there, which was called a Whitworth rifle, and it is considered one of the first sniper rifles. It was designed in 1854 to 1857, and that's there. They have some interesting features to that. You can do more deep dive research or actually go to the museum and check it out. The book I was talking about is called Jack Hinson's One Man War. The Hinson is Hinson. So it's different than Jim Henson. If I misspoke earlier, then it's corrected now. But very interesting book. It does touch on Civil War. It does touch on slavery. But that isn't the mainstay of the whole story. And I think it's a unique viewpoint. There are multiple books on this gentleman, and you can do a lot more research if you're interested in it, but it's definitely one that Wisco Mando and I think both of us have talked about, and it's a definite interesting read to see how things were perceived back then by a very small, minor people in a conflict that turned to be a bigger thing than I think anyone would have thought of.
Yep.
From.
Yeah, and then it is worth going to it. It's open, it's free to the public, and they have art there from World War II. A whole bunch of like artists, comics that were done back in the day are there. And I think they're the originals. They have the cloak. Apparently, that unit who used to have a swastika in their unit patch, and they were like the Thunder Eagles or something like that. They switched over to, I believe, the Thunder Eagles because of World War II and the Nazis. They have Hitler's chateau silverware or like dishes and one of his clothes that he has a photo in.
I don't doubt it because there was a lot of things that got pilfered.
The funny thing
in the end days.
The funny thing is all that stuff got sent home to Oklahoma City to this lady, and they packed all the dishware in Hitler's clothes. Well, all of Hitler's clothes were just given away at the time to just random people. So there was a whole bunch of people walking around in really nice suits and clothing from Hitler in Oklahoma during World War II, at the end of World War II. And all the silverware and stuff got kept by the guys that ultimately ended up in the museum. Phenomenal place. Highly recommended. I know not everybody can travel, and with the gas prices right now, you're better off feeding blood into your gas tank than you are driving. So
yeah, I did 26 gallons today, and I don't know if it was that my tank was full or if it hit the $100.02 mark.
Yeah, I'm getting down to I fill up at a half tank now just so I don't have to see it come out. So,
yep.
And this is
cost
why we
averaging.
prepare. This is why we prepare. So, but
we do.
I'm going to close this out tonight. Keep your shovel sharp. Don't be a loot shop. Thanks, BP, for being on today. I always appreciate it. We'll have you on again, and we'll talk about solar generation and power when I get my noggin a little more wrapped around that. I think we'll have a great time. So I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.